Hey guys, Speed here with another member replay analysis, and today I'll be going over Dota Gen's INVOKER mid lane replay. You are 2.2k MMR, which is in Archon 4, and your question was, how can I improve? This is a game you won, it seems, and you still believe you're making mistakes, and pretty much just want to know what you can do better overall in INVOKER, it seems, by saying you cast the wrong spells. And yeah, well, we'll just talk about pretty much everything, but what I'm going to mostly focus on, based on your question, is a little bit of your spell casting. I have a fair amount of INVOKER games, I believe around like 100. Definitely not great at the hero, because it's a very complex hero, but I used to play it all the time when I was racing MMR, simply because it was good in lane at the time. Now not as much, but it's still okay. Alright, so you missed your block, not the end of the world. Whenever you get past the ward, I would say try to place it down. I know you got it late, I was watching, but yeah. It's definitely not good to displace it. Okay, so this matchup's definitely favorable for you. And the first thing is it's very important to get your block. Mainly because it's very easy to harass Ember if you get a good block. So you really gotta make sure you're practicing that. I'd say definitely try to go into a lobby and get that down. Okay, first mistake. When you're last hitting like this, I'm gonna slow it down just to show you what you're doing wrong. Some of this is practice, a lot of this, the mid lane mechanics is practice, but what you want to do is get close to the creeps. Ember cannot currently harass you out of lane, and if you feel like this guy is smart enough where maybe he'll flame guard and try to harass you, you can back up a little bit, but overall, if he tries to go on you and hit you, especially in this bracket, he won't be smart enough not to draw aggro. So what you're going to want to do is get as close as you can to the creeps while you're about to last hit them. So like here, you're just sitting really far away. You're not using creep aggro, so you just have to. You're not making the creeps into a better place for yourself. So what I would have immediately done would have been to click on him if you understand what creep aggro is if you understand what it is. Sorry. Then you click on him, you drag the creeps back to your range creep, and you force him to come up. And what will happen often, since you didn't do it here, it's harder for me to show the example, but. Alright, sorry I had to make a quick pause there, but as I was saying, is you can use creep aggro so that your melee creeps and his melee creeps will both aggro onto the range creep. So if you get close to the creeps, you use creep aggro, you can drag them back onto your range creep. And what you should do in this situation is when his enemy range creep is getting low, you should use Sunstrike to get the last hit. And this might seem weird, but the reason is when you Sunstrike his enemy range creep, what will end up happening is then there are 3 melee creeps just hitting this Ember, who has very low armor. He is under tower, so he's getting a buff, but fairly low armor, so he doesn't want to tank them. And then you will often get a free deny if he doesn't challenge, and if he does challenge, he'll get harassed a lot. So it's very beneficial to do this. Maybe you look at some guide that talks about creep aggro. Not exactly sure which one, but if you don't understand what I'm saying, it's kind of a complex idea. But hopefully I explained it, where you can at least use the basics of it. Okay, so you kind of use it here. Yeah, you definitely, like, a little bit of this is just learning how to last hit. Once again, I just really want to get this into your head. Like, if you're not afraid of him or getting harassed in a matchup like this, in any matchup, if you're not afraid of getting harassed, which you really shouldn't be here, you need to get close to the creep, right here. You need to get right here. And just get the last hit. You know, that little bit of projectile speed will often make the difference, unless you're like really good at taking into account. What's going on here is just really bad for you because you don't want to have this like huge creep disadvantage. What's going to end up happening is you're going to have the last hit under tower, and this is just really inconvenient. He's going to hit level 2, and when he's level 2, if he's a good player, he could even just like potentially sidechain you under tower if he didn't level flame guard. Or he could just run you under the tower if he's good enough, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, but now you have the CS under towers, which is not good. Okay, looks like you'll get 2. Pretty good job there. Could have been worse. Okay. Not terrible. That was definitely could have ended up worse. Continue to look at what you're doing. There, right here, I know it's a small thing, and I'm pointing out a lot of small things. I just think in my opinion, the first thing you want to work on, in pretty much in any bracket, but specifically when you're low MMR, like when you kind of have major mistakes in every area, I think the main one you want to focus on is the laning stage. So that's what I'm going to be kind of focusing on most here. But because if you don't have a good laning stage, you're going to struggle more than you should in the mid game, which doesn't necessarily, it makes it harder to learn the mid game if you are improperly playing the laning stage and not getting what you should out of it or what you could out of it. Not to say you can't make certain plays or learn things, that's obviously not true, but it's a little bit harder. So here I would have focused on this range creep deny 100%. This is my focus, this range creep deny, not the CS. Denies, in my opinion, if you can get a deny and miss a CS in the mid lane, the majority of the time, I would say go for it, as long as they're not getting the deny. But you don't, and now he gets a CS, and that's a lot worse. Gotta be careful about your Forge Spirit here. Definitely don't want to feed this. Okay, you're gonna go for a kill. Alright, if you're baiting the Forge Spirit, I'm cool with that. You got a cold snap a little bit earlier. Okay, you definitely played this wrong. Let me explain. So you need to take every little thing into account. So right here, if you know your CM is coming here, you need to be walking as close as you can to him. Hit, move. If you don't understand attack moving, it is something you really need to get down. It is crucial in getting these kills. It is often the difference. Like a majority of the time, your CM messes up by stepping up too, but you're not stepping up. You could be here right now. Right? If in this whole duration, you stepped up, right? Hit, like, each of these attacks. Hit, step up. Hit, step up. If you do that, you could be, like, right here right now, and you'd get another auto attack off. And, like, you didn't attack move once. And if you don't know how to attack move, I'll do it in free cameras if I'm you. So, I'm going to slow it down. So, what you would do is you hit, right? You click, you hit, you click up again, you hit, you click up again, and then you're like here, right? But instead, you're standing still, and now you're this far away from him, and you're not going to get auto attacks off. You should also be making Sunstrike, or Ice Wall, something like that. Uh-oh. Now CM's killing herself. Oh, she shouldn't have ran that way. Oh. Spirit Breaker. Ah. Alright, some crazy stuff going on in the mid lane. Yeah, and then a lot of that pretty much just comes down to you either not using Sunstrike or... But I'm sorry, that's not even should be your main focus because you didn't need it to get that kill. A lot of that, most of that just comes down to the fact that you didn't use attack moving. It's crucial. You really got to learn it, especially when you're going for kills. Once again, you're just way too far from the creeps. It makes it really hard to last it. You shouldn't be backing off there. In fact, I would even consider cold snapping him there and just hitting him. Every time you have like some severe creep advantage, you should, and especially if he's tanking it, especially on a melee hero like Ember, you should cold snap them pretty much. Alright, gotta get these denies. It's really important. Like, the way you crush Ember is the fact that you can, like, kind of fake denies and then force him to come up, and then you can harass him. And often you can either just get a ton of harass by like Forge Spirit Cold Snap, or even just get the deny because he can't pressure it. Like here, I would consider Sunstriking this if you're not going to go for it. Once again, you're not getting the denies. This is... Oh, alright. Oh, that was really close. But yeah, I would say you got to prioritize it, because often by denying, you'll free up the last hit, but by going for the last hit, you won't free up the deny. I don't know how to explain it exactly, but... Also, you have a ton of gold. I don't know why you're saving up so much gold. Are you buying Midas? It's definitely not good if that's what you're doing. Okay. If you are planning to go Aquila and Wand, you should be buying the components and you should be buying a salve right off the bat. Actually, I'm going to quickly jump back. I know I'm going a little bit far back, but we'll go up to the point. We're at 5:30. Did you ever ship yourself out of salve? No. First thing you should be doing, every single laning stage in the mid lane, without exception. There are occasionally a few exceptions, but for simplicity's sake, if you have 110 gold and you are a mid laner, buy a salve. It doesn't matter what hero you are, just buy one. 9 times out of 10, if you are learning how to trade correctly and you are using your spells and willing to play aggro and you have a salve and they don't, well, he does have tangos, so he is at least on the right idea. Often you can buy tangos as well. Salve's a little bit better because you can prevent yourself from being a kill threat. But yeah, you should be buying a salve, because if this guy realizes this, he can potentially just harass you out of lane. Maybe not based on the matchup, but he probably could, because you're not going tornado, so you can't even purge flame guard. Sorry, let me skip back ahead now. So what I would recommend is for me, if this was a hero I was super comfortable on, I could give you a lot more in-depth tips. INVOKER is a hero I like, and I think if you apply all these little mechanics I'm talking about, you'll already see a difference. And I'm sorry, I remembered I just missed a point I want to cover quickly. So about your items, the first thing you should be doing in the laning stage, in my opinion, against Ember, is considering to buy boots. His hero, especially if you're not going the tornado build. If you are going tornado, maybe you don't need it because you can purge flame guard. Often as Exor Invoker, he can kind of run you down and get some chains off. Not necessarily that easily because you can just hit him, but in terms of items, if you have enough gold for an item and you are the mid laner, purchase the item. Whether it's a salve or a Bacillus, you want these items. Especially, I think Bacillus is really good. If you can get your Null Talisman Bacillus, you're very strong, because you can keep it on and have a constant creep advantage, and therefore he won't be able to harass you, and you'll be able to get better cold snaps off, and you'll have more damage and mana regen. So do not ever save up 1,000 gold unless you're going Midas, which is still bad. I would definitely say don't go Midas. It's a lot safer not to. And you see how you didn't end up using any of your regen? This is just not to be rude in any sense, but this is just a sign of like kind of like a low MMR game, because in higher MMR games they're gonna look for your gaps and pressure your mistakes, and you'll lose HP and therefore have to buy regen. So I can understand why you're not buying a salve, but salves and regen is not only for defensive purposes, it's also for aggressive purposes. There's a recent Monkey King replay by Thompson, TI winner, where he bought like 5 salves. Of course, maybe this is overkill, and it was a pub, so he was like going super aggro, maybe to learn his limits type of thing. But that just shows, like, if you need to buy regen, I mean, if you want to go aggressive but you need regen to do it, just buy the regen, just buy it. And by buying regen to go aggressive, if you can force them out of the lane and miss a wave and a half for 110 gold being a salve, then that's worth it, you know. And at this point in the game, I would have considered, if you're crushing this guy and you feel like you can't pressure him out of the lane, maybe you just start meteoring the wave. But here I wouldn't be afraid. You need to be hitting this guy. He's definitely no threat to you. Okay. Yeah, so that's just kind of a realization of strengths. Alright. Not a bad try. I'm glad you turned. You could have turned a little bit earlier, but that's okay. That's just something, to be honest, like understanding when you can turn and when you can't is mostly just like a experience thing. It's pretty hard to teach, like numbers and feelings about Dota. Yeah, so not a terrible start. You've definitely come back. But the thing is, what I think is crazy about Dota is, like, you can do well in these brackets, like, right? You are doing very well. Actually, somehow you are like 15 CS or whatever above. What? Alright, you definitely need to hit this guy. You can kill him. Also, you want to hit and then cold snap usually. Guess it doesn't matter as much. Alright, pretty nice meteor. Nice. Alright. I don't know what that guy's doing. Okay. Alright, good try. As long as you're keeping your eyes open, eventually you'll learn to hit them. Learn, like, people's movements and stuff. Oh, they actually have a sentry. Interesting. I don't think you'll die here, though. We'll see. You do have the big wand. You should be running back to your tower. Oh, alright, good turn. I like this. Meteor was a little bit off. Alright, now you need to start running away. This is a little bit greedy. Yeah, you definitely got a little greedy there. I definitely would not prioritize using Meteor Hammer to kill the Ember unless he has no remnants left. I would say just use Alacrity. Alright, you're going Midas. I'm not really going to talk too much about item builds on Invoker. However, I do know that Tread's Axe is the most popular build on an Exhort Invoker, I believe. Yeah, so that's all I would say with that. And against Ember Spirit, I definitely... Sorry. Alright, not a bad try. But yeah, I mean, your spellcasting is something you're just going to have to practice, really. It's not much I can tell you about, like, timings on spells. It's just something you really just have to... It's purely practice, really. You definitely don't need to be afraid of this guy. What is he doing? Okay, and your another thing I just want to point out is your camera movement. Try to get it a little bit ahead. It makes it a lot easier to sunstrike because you got to put it ahead of him, right? So like your camera is constantly lagging behind, so you want to like pan towards him when you're going on him. Alright, you definitely got, yeah, alright, you need to use your Midas a lot earlier. I'm sorry, it's just something a lot of people pet peeve on, and, you know, for good reason. There's really no reason not to use it, so, alright, you're definitely a little bit too static, right? In order to push your advantage, become, like, a great player, you need to, in order to become a better player, you need to learn how to push your advantages, or just maximize efficiency, and, like here, it's good that you're finally jungling. It definitely took you way too long to maximize efficiency. Like 59 CS in a favorable lane at this point in the game is definitely not enough. You are 4-1, so you're doing pretty well, right? Your farm is fine. That's really not the problem. But I just want to say, like, if you feel like you're ever ahead in the lane and you can't push them out of the lane, then just start meteoring it. However, if you feel like you can contest the lane and you're this immovable force in the mid lane, then maybe consider staying there and pressuring the mid tower. Those are the two kind of like situations I would say, is like maximizing efficiency. If you feel like you're either unable to show up mid because they can kill you or you can't kill them and it's pointless for you to try to pressure them, then just nuke the wave and jungle. Otherwise, if you feel like you're on the offensive, then stay there, CS the wave, get the denies, pressure the tower, and ruin their game that way. This is definitely not how you want to approach this. It works out, but yeah, don't like, you kind of have to, when you're casting spells on Invoker, you have to consider like what are their capabilities. And for Ember, your first thing you should be doing is like what I would want to have against an Ember is either Alacrity or maybe Ice Wall, because his remnants are based off of movement speed, right? So if you slow him, then it's harder for him to disengage or engage, and it would make that kill easier, because Meteor really doesn't do that much damage unless you can like push them into it or keep them on it. But Ember, that's not really a concern if he is playing his hero properly. So phase boots? Alright, this is definitely not good. There's no reason to buy phase boots at this point. I think phase boots are like kind of okay on Invoker, to be honest, if you buy them early, but often treads are probably just better. We'll see what you do here. Yeah, this is a big mistake, right? You really don't want to have this. Like, in order to become really efficient, you cannot make plays like this, where if you're gonna make a gank, you kind of gotta look ahead, be like, all right, maybe something will break out, but you don't want to show up like 20-30 seconds late to the fight. And now this kind of just gives Ember a fair bit amount of space. Is he gonna gank? Nah, but like now your mid towers, I think it took a little bit of damage because there was a card, right? Oh no, okay, so Spirit Breaker's actually kind of dealing with it, but not really. See, this is the problem, you're not pushing out the card wave. You left at like quite a bad time. It was 15-minute mark. Like at this point in the game, the landing stage is kind of done, but someone still probably wants to, I'm sorry, I'll go back, but someone should be kind of just killing the mid wave. This is a really crazy dive. How does this even work out? What? What? You just auto attack him? Okay, well, yeah, that was definitely not a good play. You just kind of ran into your auto attacks, to be honest. Alright. Slow this down and go back to your player perspective. Okay, now you're TPing around a lot. I think it's okay to get active, but gotta make sure you're really getting something out of it. We'll see what you get out of it here. You also really want to try to be Midasing. I know it's hard to focus on all these things. Alright, pretty nice meteor. Not bad. Let's just look at that overall. I'll just critique you on every little thing possible. Okay, first off, definitely try to line up the spells. I think a lot of this actually, I'll make a point. So a lot of this I think comes down to your camera movement. You're making it really hard for yourself to cast your spells because, you know, you're shifting your camera way too late. You know, you don't need to focus on your hero this much. And over time, you'll be able to gain the ability to, like, kinda just get a feel for where everything is without actually seeing it. But like here, you don't even need to tornado, right? He just got hit by a spear breaker. However, what you need to consider right here is I don't want to cold snap this guy because he can purge it, right? Yeah, so you don't cold snap. Here, when you charge him, I would have Sunstrike ready and try to follow up his charge with Sunstrike instead of tornadoing. This isn't the end of the world, but now your movement, once again, is bad, right? You tornado, you should be running into the fight. You want to stay on top of him, right? But you're kind of just running back. Wait, what happened? Was that a replay bug? Why did it seem like your Sunstrike was really off? Must have been a replay bug, because it seemed like it wasn't even close. Huh. I don't know. When I looked at it before, it looked really off, but maybe it was a replay bug, maybe it's just my eyes, I don't know. But okay, so you land the combo. Not bad. Now here, I would probably take out, like, Cold Snap, or, alright, you go for Meteor. That's not bad. Yeah, overall okay. You know, you landed your combo, you got the kill. I would definitely say try to, like, ideally in that situation, you try to Sunstrike based off the Spear Breaker charge and then Tornado the Silencer. So it's a little bit easier in chasing them down. However, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then you know, what you did is not bad. What I'm gonna say about your movements right now is currently in your current bracket, what ends up happening a lot is people aren't very good at disengaging, and they'll often overcommit for things. So punishing it is easier, right? That makes sense, right? If they overcommit, punishing is a lot easier. And so if you react to these things and punish them and get double and triple kills based on your, on your rotations, it's beneficial. However, what I'm going to say is that often you want your farming patterns to align with ganks. This is something that takes a lot of practice, but pretty much the reason for it is if you spend all of your time going for ganks and they don't work out, or people begin to react properly or even just kill you, then you're going to fall really far behind because you're not going to be farming, and if you fail a gank and you're not farming, then you're going to really perish. Thankfully, it kind of worked out for you here, and you were able to punish and hit your spells, which is good. But I would say try to be careful about that. Instead, what can often be a lot safer, let's say the game isn't as radical, which sometimes games are radical, and TPing into fights is fine. But often, what you can be doing is, let's say you're farming here, or you're on the other team, you're farming here, and a fight, and you see something kind of brewing up here where you feel like they're not showing on the map and they might gank your teammate, or they do go on them and you feel like your teammate's tanky enough where you can shift over. Then you come over and you help. Another option is if you see a tower, you can tell your teammates to group up and get the tower. But often relying on, like, TP, like just straight up TPing in back and forth between engagements, it's just not going to work at some point. You know, there's situations where, you know, in every bracket, every single game, it's going to work. I'm just saying, like, the chances of you playing like this, I mean, like, pretty much the game's gonna change. And I just want to kind of prepare for you, prepare you for it by giving that kind of tidbit. So now you're kind of running around a little bit too much. Same thing that happens a lot earlier when you're bottom. You just like ran all the way to the gank and you lose a lot of efficiency. So that's what I'm talking about, like the farming patterns. Like here, if you see the fight going and you're like, oh, this is gonna last a while, you run over, right? Let's talk about what you could have done better, even though it worked out. Okay, first off, like, Sunstrike, it doesn't necessarily land. However, here, this is not how you approach this, right? A good team here is going to be like, alright, we're backing off, there's nothing more to get. And you coming like this will lose you the kills, realistically. However, you know what I talked about, like how people overcommit and therefore it's easier to punish? This is the exact example. These guys are just really overcommitting. They should just leave this Kunkka. Like, alright, this guy's dead. However, they run back in and they kill themselves. So in order to punish better players, in order to reliably make this play, you should be running through here. If you tell your team, I'm coming, go back in, or then, you know, you need to get behind them because you need to make sure this play works. They could have easily disengaged. Maybe Kunkka dies, but they could have ran away, and then you only get a Kunkka kill, and this rotation is not really justified. However, they just run in and kind of feed all their lives. Or feed another bigger kill. This guy even walks in. Yeah, notice action. Alright. But once again, right, like that, the fact that there is even an opportunity to get more kills just kind of shows why, like, it's a lot better to get into the habit of like farming towards kills and then either setting things up and try to read stuff, which kind of takes a lot of practice, and making sure in the ganks you judge how strong you are. It's hard to make this judgment, but in that situation, if you feel like you're on the offensive, you need to position as if you are. And there, you running behind your team and taking the longest route when you're going aggressive is not how you will maximize your kills. Thankfully, they ran right into you, but this, you definitely want to try to cut these things out, you know, and maximize your efficiency, or else eventually it might not work out to what you hope it to be. I definitely say you want to try to get your talents a little bit earlier. I'm not exactly sure, but I think the 15 talents are really good. The Cold Snap talent's extremely good, from what I've heard. So, I'm interested why you're going on Wex to hit it. Not really sure what's best in terms of damage, but maybe it is. I don't know. Oh, okay. Alright, this is pretty solid. I kind of like this. Uh-oh. Yeah, you're dead. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about why that happened. So, there is a major issue with what you're doing right now, right? And it is that you are making a play for a tower when the whole enemy team is up and you have no teammates backing you up. Your supports are clearly not in your area, and Bristleback has no way of saving you. You currently have no defensive items. This play is simply unacceptable, right? You even see them coming, right? You see them coming, but you walk back up. This one movement kills you, pretty much. This play, maybe you can justify it, right? It's kind of a lower armor game, to be honest, so maybe they won't make a smoke play and catch you. And you have good vision right now, so you see them coming. So you could have gotten away with this, right? You could have even gotten away with it, but you walk back in a little bit too far, and then you even, like, that EMP is unnecessary, and you get X'd. All these little movements get you killed, right? If you disengage there, and you accept the fact that you can't make any play, and you just straight up make your focus running away, okay, you get out. But instead, you take yourself off Wex, you lose your movement speed, and you die. So, that play, overall, is not okay because they're not showing and they can smoke and kill you. And you have no teammates backing you up. However, you could have gotten away with it. Like, pushing your limits is fine in my opinion, right? It teaches you how to become a better player and, like, what's the best you can do, what you can catch people on and stuff. However, hopefully what I showed you there and like your little step back and what your thought process needs to be of I'm just running away here, right? Would have made that a lot better. Go for staff. I'm okay with it. I think Yule's is potentially better because they have a Kunkka and an Ember. Even Legion it's really nice against, and Silencer. Okay, here I don't like you using Tornado. I think I understand maybe you're uncomfortable with using other teammates' spells like to kind of follow up yours, but way too often are you like disrupting your other teammates' spells or just kind of disregarding them and just using your own. So like here, first of all, your camera movement is off. Like once again, you constantly have this problem where your camera is just not in a good spot. You're walking up this hill, you need to see what's coming. This is irrelevant information at this point. I know it seems kind of vague, but like your camera should be here, like up more. You need to see if people are there. Like this DK walks up this hill and you can't even see him. He's here, but you can't even see him, so you can't even react properly. Like right here, you get a frostbite. You could have just EMP'd cold snapped. I guess I feel like if you couldn't get the ice wall off, but it buys him some time to run away, right? Now you're gonna get dueled. What? Alright, you should have gotten dueled, and then you probably would have just died. So yeah, you really need to try to use your teammate's spells to land your own spells. Alright. Yeah, okay. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. You really need to not you need to rely on your teammates to some extent. You can't just constantly tornado people, especially when they're already controlled. What items does he have as well? Alright, shut up, Bleed. You could have killed him, but yeah, instead of EMPing, like right now at this stage of the game, you shouldn't be leading with EMP. It's definitely not your highest damage spell, especially when you see a Dragon Knight. Like Tornado EMP is not your spell right now. If you see Kunkka, I'd be like, oh no, he's even Mana Boots. Here's the Tornado EMP. I'd say your best heroes to Tornado EMP mid-fight are Dragon Knight. But if you're simply trying to solo kill him, then not solo kill him, but like kill him, like in a pick-off setting, then you do not EMP. You're wasting EMP. Like you should be Sunstriking, right? Like Sunstrike is your best spell. Alacrity are your best spells, and you cast Meteor, which is fine if you can keep them in the Meteor. Like, so maybe you Meteor Deafening Blast. I don't know if you did that. I don't think you did. So either you need to Meteor Cold Snap. I would say your highest damage spells right now are like Meteor Cold Snap, Sunstrike, or like Alacrity Cold Snap, Meteor, something like that, or Meteor Deafening Blast. But like you cast Meteor, but you don't Cold Snap or anything like that. Also, your Meteor was a little bit off, but that's alright. So, yeah, you're just like, it's definitely not, you need to be considering, it's kind of hard for me to tell you, like, or react, but you just need to have the right idea of, alright, I need to just kill this guy and burst him, and then you won't use EMP and just waste a lot of time. Because casting EMP and, like, not casting Cold Snap or Deafening Blast with your Meteor, or even casting Sunstrike at all, really hurts you. Looks like you'll live. Alright. I'm not gonna go over every fight, especially the ones you win, but you gotta use your Midas. I would say here if your PL's gonna hit the tower, Alacrity him. Alright. Yeah, I guess Alacritying your Forge is okay, but definitely better to Alacrity your PL. 100%. Alright, I like the idea of trying to Deafening Blast there. Not bad. Here your teammates are going way too far. This is where I would ignore them and just hit the racks. Alright, looks like the enemy team is having some disagreements. We'll skip ahead because this game seems fairly over. You guys have a 17k net worth lead. This guy is huge. Really weird item build. Not really weird, but yeah, you definitely have some farmed heroes and they are very underfarmed. Alright. Oh, did you have a nice Sunstrike play? I didn't see. What was that? Once again, just don't think you should be leading with. Alright, did EMP get him killed there? Okay. Was he half mana or something? Oh no, he just has a low mana pool. Alright, realistically, Emerald Spirit should never really get hit by an EMP. He even had a Remnant out. I think he's just kind of done with the game. Yeah, there's really no way you kill an Ember alone currently. But he'd just let you kill him. Alright, I like how you're going BKB here. I think it's very good to be buying BKB on Invoker, especially if you're not comfortable with positioning. But honestly, just in general, it's really, really good. For some reason, a lot of Invokers will just buy like Lincolns and stuff. Alright. I know the game's kind of over, but you should really not be standing that far up. Yeah, BKB is a really good choice. I would say it's something I'm a big fan of, especially on heroes like Invoker. So BKB, it's also good against Silencer. I mean global. Alright, definitely getting kited around a little bit here. So let's talk about how you could address this better. Like right off the fight starts, and I think you don't really want to BKB necessarily for Silencer ult, only because you need it for defensive purposes in this game. Like realistically, if the team's jumping you, and then here, it's a game where you guys don't necessarily have a lot of control. Let's go back a little bit, see if there's any better opportunity. Okay, so you get stunned, get globaled. So here, I would say like you can just Tornado EMP the Dragonite to run him out of mana, but you go for this big tornado. Ends up hitting the DK because he walks into it. Interesting. No, you're just walking around a little bit too much. I would say try to like just Alacrity. When you're in BKB, you should just Alacrity and like Cold Snap. Alright, that was really nice. Good use there. But yeah, when you're BKB, just like try to Alacrity Cold Snap someone, or just like Cold Snap Meteor someone, or Tornado Meteor Cold Snap someone, something like that. I would say in order to become like better at spellcasting Invoker, I'm definitely not the guy to go to. So what I would say, if you're really interested in learning like pristine Invoker gameplay, definitely watch like Sumaya videos if you know who he is, or any of the pros who play him well, like Miracle. Just watch how they cast their spells and like what their priority is and how they line it up with their teammates, all that stuff. Just pay attention to every minute detail, because that's how you learn like what's important here, what's important there, and eventually you just become good enough, be able to reciprocate a lot of things they're doing, because it's hard to know what's best in every situation, but if you get a general guideline down, hopefully then at that point you'll be able to do a better job, because I think you're prioritizing certain spells too much, like EMP. I think it's good, it's a good spell, like, but often it's not the best like nuke spell at some point in the game. And you kind of have to look at the enemy team and be like, alright, it's good against these heroes, it's good against this and this, but when I BKB, I want to be just Alacrity Cold Snapping someone or something like that. But hopefully, all my tips are very helpful. If you have any questions, comments, let me know in the comment section. And for just as kind of like a summary, I would say definitely focus mostly on your laning stage for now. If you can get down your laning stage, your spellcasting is okay. It's definitely not bad, right? You're not missing your spells completely, you know some combos, but overall what I would say is most important for you is really refining your laning stage. Learn creep aggro, learn to buy more regen, buy your items earlier, learn when's the best time to harass people. Just if you really are interested in like getting better and making less mistakes, you'll make less mistakes out of the game if you just come out of the laning stage ahead of everyone else. And you kind of did this game, even though you did make a lot of mistakes. So, yeah, I think you have a bright future ahead of yourself. And, yeah, thanks for watching and submitting a replay. And, yeah, see you.